So moving to the leg, we can see some of the muscles that act on the hip and the femur. So starting with the deep muscles, we've got the iliopsoas. So this is actually two heads of the muscle. There's the iliacus here on the inside of the ilium, and then the psoas major, which comes all the way up here to your lumbar spine. And then they come together here to insert on this trochanter here of the femur. This is the cut of muscle that you eat when you eat filet mignon. And then we also have the gluteal muscles. So there are a few here. We've got the gluteus maximus, which is the largest. The gluteus medius comes up here onto the iliac crest. And then deep to that, so again here on the right we've got the deep muscles, you've got the gluteus minimus. And these are going to abduct the thigh. So abduct means to move the leg away from the median of the body. They both originate on this coxal bone and then insert onto the. Moving down to the muscles of the leg, these are going to be acting crural region. So we've got the posterior superficial view here. We can see the hamstrings. So the hamstring group is made up of three main muscles. We've got the biceps femoris, which is right here. And it's again biceps because it's got two heads. There's one here and one here. And the biceps femoris is going to flex the knee or extend the hip depending on what's moving. All of these hamstrings are going to originate on the ischial tuberosity. The ischial tuberosity is up here on the hip, and then insert down onto either the fibula or the tibia. So you can see the biceps femoris breaks this way at the knee and is going to insert onto the fibula on the outside of the leg. And the other two members of the hamstrings are the semitendinosus and the semimembranosus. And those come this direction to insert onto the tibia. And all three of these work together to flex the knee. Here are the anterior muscles. So you can see again up here at the hip we have what's called the tensor fascia latae. So tensor is going to tense something. So it's going to put tension onto this big fascia. So in humans we call this the iliotibial tract. In other animals we actually call this fascia the fascia latae, which is why this muscle tenses this fascia. So it's going to insert into this tibial tract, and this is going to work with the glutes to abduct the thigh. We have the sartorius muscle, which is kind of a strap-like muscle coming across here all the way down to the tibia. So this is going to start at the iliac crest and then insert down here on the tibia. There's a whole group of muscles right here that are adductors. So adduct means add to the body. These are going to move the leg in towards the medial compartment. And this group of muscles has several here, and I'm going to go back to this slide so that you can see the adductor group in entirety. So starting from the lateral side, we've got the pectineus, the adductor magnus, which you can see is deep here. So there's part of it here and part of it here. The adductor brevis, brevis meaning short, and the adductor longus, longus meaning longer. And then along the medial edge of these adductors is the gracilis. All of these adductors are going to originate here on the pubic bone and then insert either along the femur and then all the way for the gracilis and the adductor magnus. They can actually go all the way down to the tibia. We also have another group on the anterior portion. This is the quadriceps. So quad means four. So there are four muscles that are part of your quadriceps. And the quadriceps are going to extend the knee and flex the hip. So in the center here, we have the rectus femoris. Again, rectus means straight. Femoris is telling us that it's along the femur. We have so the rectus femoris is the only one that actually inserts up here on the ilium. The rest of these are going to, the rectus femoris is the only one that originates up here on the ilium. The rest of these are going to originate on the femur. So you can see the other three here with the rectus femoris removed. You can see the vastus lateralis is on the lateral side of the leg. The vastus medialis is on the medial side of the leg. And the vastus intermedius is in between those. It's in the middle. And all of these are going to originate here on the femur. And then all four of the quadriceps come down into a shared tendon. This is the quadriceps femoris tendon, which is going to insert onto the patella. But if you remember, the patella bone is actually inside of this tendon. So the tendon actually continues all the way down here to the tibial tuberosity of the tibia. All right, and then the furthest distal point on the leg, we've got the muscles of the crural region, which are going to act onto the foot. So in our anterior view, so these on the left are both anterior, and then on the right are posterior. So you can see the patella up here. Along the shaft of the tibia, we have the tibialis anterior. And this is going to dorsiflex, so it's going to pull the foot up and then invert. So invert is going to push the sole of the foot in, as well as with the extensor digitorum longus are going to function similarly. So the extensor is going to extend the toes. So you can see that this comes all the way down to the phalanges, and it's also going to be involved in dorsiflexion. On here we can see the lateral side of the foot. We've got the fibularis longus and the fibularis brevis. And these are both going to help to maintain the concavity of the sole. So these pull against the tarsals, which helps to give a arch, as well as eversion of the foot and plantar flexion. So plantar flexion is when you point your toes. On the posterior side, we've got the large calf muscles. So this is called the gastrocnemius. Gastro means stomach or belly, which is it means it has a large belly. When you're spelling this one, I like to say the C really hard, gastrocnemius, so that I remember that it has a C and an N together. It's a little weird to spell. But this is your big calf muscle, so when you do calf raises, you would be moving these. So these are going to be involved in plantar flexion, so flexing the foot, pointing the toe, and then it inserts with this big tendon here onto the calcaneus, and this is the Achilles tendon. So if you've heard the story of Achilles, who was dipped in the river, and he was basically invincible until he was hit in the Achilles tendon, so that's how I got that name. Deep to that, so you can see this picture, the gastrocnemius is cut here, and so deep to that we've got the soleus, and the soleus is going to function similarly in plantar flexion, where it's going to insert down here into the calcaneus as well. We can see a couple flexor muscles down here, so this is named similarly to the fingers. We've got flexor, so it's going to flex the toes, digitorum, and then longus because it's a long muscle. So this is going to go down and insert all the way onto the bottom of the phalanges. So take a moment, take the muscles that are in the thigh and group them into actions of either adducting the leg or abducting the leg, and then explain the difference between those two groups.